If you've made it this far, you're on day 8. You are feeling better, just like I am. I feel great. I slept so good last night. I just feel really good. And I'm beginning to feel like that maybe I've lost a little bit of weight in 8 days, which is like the miracle. And today's chapter is on design. What does design have to do with an eating plan? Well, in this chapter, he talks about planning and setting up your environment, designing your environment for success. And this is so important. And as I go through this, I realize just how many of these things. It's been 4 years since I read this book from cover to cover. And I realize that so many of those things that I implemented then, I still do today because they are good habits. I use environmental cues. I like what he says in the book. And I'm going to read 184. Change occurs by design, not by accident or wishful thinking. It occurs by transforming the unconscious choices we make every day, shifting them so that the automatic, easy, default choices become healthy choices, not deadly ones. And for me, that I was told the last time I went to the doctor that I'm, borderline diabetic. And I don't want that. And they told me that where I was at, I could adjust it by healthy eating. And I thought I was eating pretty healthy until I did this. And I began to see the little choices. It's not the big choices. It's not that one night you decide you're going to go eat all the Mexican food and drink the margarita. It's the little choices every single day. Those little habits. That one cookie, that one cookie won't hurt. It says, in order to change behavior, you need 3 things. The motivation to change, the ability to change, and the trigger to change. If you want to eat a protein-filled breakfast for energy, then you have the motivation. Now you need the ability and the trigger. So, I don't know what your motivation was for doing this. Mine was health reasons, and I was hoping I would lose 5 pounds. So that's the motivation. And so I had to set up my environment. Now, there's been some things I've had to adjust since I started. As many of you know, I got a rebounder. I put it in my spare bedroom. When I first got it, I put it here in my office. And it was a little crowded, so I put it in my spare bedroom. And I wasn't as consistent using it. So guess what? Even though it's crowded, I moved it back in here. There's enough room right over there for my rebounder. And it keeps me, because it is front and center. I have to walk around it to sit down at my desk. So it's front and center, and I use it. That's an environmental cue. I can see it, so I use it every day. There's so many things that I set up. At night, I have the best way to have a good morning routine is to have a good night routine. So at night, I get out my supplements, I fix them up, I put them in my purse to take with me. Everything is where I can see it. That's my environmental cues. I use Post-it notes because and I can use the Post-it note, and when I've accomplished the task or got it done, then I can toss it. If it's stuff that I want to do all the time, I try to figure out a trigger or an environmental cue that's going to clue me to that. And I am sight motivated. Out of sight, out of mind. It's like, and that's a good thing for me because I can put all of my husband's snacks out of sight and I don't think about them. And he knows I'm doing this, and so he adjusts his snacking to things that pretty much we know I'm not going to eat. And and most of the stuff he eats, I'm not going to eat. So what I really like about this chapter is he gives you step by step. So the first thing you want to do is organize your kitchen. You want to make sure you have the spices. You want to make sure you have the condiments and the stuff to make the recipes. I did some food prep earlier this week. I made the turkey meatballs and I made a double batch. And I put them in I have those greeny containers that I might just have to add that to my list. Amazon shopping. But they're really great. They keep vegetables really fresh. And so that's what I used. I had to fix my little thing here. I knocked it off. So he gives you a graph to make the plan. If you fail to plan, you better plan to fail. And he does like my healthy kitchen, and he says make it easier to find and use cooking utensils, organize my pots and pans, and when are you going to do it? This Saturday afternoon. So it's step by step. The next, you write it out. And then the thing that's so important is you've made a commitment to yourself. Keep that commitment. Think about it. Is it life or death? Could be. I watched a great podcast by Mel yesterday, and she was talking to this expert that is on aging. And he had this suit, and she put it on, and her mobility and all of that of getting around as an older adult. And, our health is in our legs. So you're going to make sure that you do the exercise. And then he talks about making your bedroom a sanctuary. And this was something that I did 4 years ago. Cleaned stuff out, made sure that everything was like just comfort and calming, and because it's a place to go to sleep. And it's like anything else. You have to train yourself to sleep. And I believe that because when I retired, I had to do that. So what, you cut up vegetables, you keep stuff. I made guacamole and I packed it and I put olive oil on top of it, keeps it fresh. So all of those things I can have on this diet. And so I have my veggies and my dip and my protein, and I made a big salad last night. So it's all in there. All I got to do is grab it. It's fixed up. He says plan food in advance. If you've got a social event, one of the things there's very good advice is to eat your snack right before you go, so you're not just starving and you don't want to eat the unhealthy stuff. Take your own food. It's like my sister-in-law does that. She has celiac disease. She takes her own food because she doesn't want to be contaminated, because she gets deathly ill, life or death. He talks about an emergency pack. So some of the things I've done is I have a bag of pecans, a bag of cashews, and a bag of pistachios. It's in my work bag, and I eat those. Anything that was in my office that was snacky stuff, out. It went out. It's very important to plan and to prepare and to design your environment for success. It doesn't just happen. You can't rely on willpower. And this is where the spiritual part comes in. Through prayer and connecting with God, He gives me the power, the courage to walk past the temptations. And I don't pray and ask God to help me. I pray and ask God to keep me. Keep me from the donuts. Keep me from the cookies, Those are the things they have at work. They're all over the place at work. And, you know, it does get easier because I don't have the cravings. What else is on this? A few other things. It says make grocery shopping a weekly ritual. And I do this. I have a pad that sits on my counter where I put my purse. And anytime I need anything or run out of stuff, I write it down on that. So that when I go to the store, I have a list. Steer clear of your danger zones. This might be kind of hard. You know, I have to walk through where they bring those donuts in at work. I know they're there. I need blinders. But, you know, you drive past your favorite fast food or Starbucks. You know, those coffees have a lot of, if you don't get black plain coffee they brew at Starbucks, you're getting a ton of preservatives and sweetener, even if you ask for sugar-free. Just the stuff they flavor their stuff with has a ton of preservatives. I think I need this in more areas in my life than just eating. But like, you know, just something that you could grab on the go or keep in your car or that sort of thing. So much of it is design your area and design your life for success. It works whether it's in eating, exercise, spiritual, building a spiritual life, changing your mental health, self-improvement. Design your environment. Don't let your environment design you. You are in control of your life. And at this point in the game, I hope y'all are seeing some big successes. Put them in the comments. And I'm going to post the playlist here so you can go back and watch if this is the first video you've caught. If you're new here, my name's Rhonda. My channel's about personal development and self-improvement. And, you know, I focus on mental health, spiritual health, and physical health at any stage in your life. If you're in my community, welcome back. I am so grateful for you. And the most important thing is to be you on purpose.